It was a hot July night. The air was thick and still. My friends and I were out on a boat enjoying the peace and quiet. We were miles from shore. The only light came from the stars above. Then we heard it. A scream. It was high-pitched and blood-curdling. It seemed to come from a small, uninhabited island in the distance. We were frozen in fear for a moment. What was that? We listened intently. The scream came again. It was definitely a cry for help. We knew we had to check it out. As we approached the island, the screaming stopped. The silence was eerie. We scanned the island with flashlights. There was no sign of anyone. No boats, no lights, nothing. We searched for hours, but we found nothing. We reported the incident to the Coast Guard, but they never found anything either. To this day, I still wonder who or what made that terrifying scream. The island stood silent, watching, waiting. My uncle told me this story years ago. He and my dad were on a fishing trip. It was the early 1980s. A thick fog had rolled in, reducing visibility to almost zero. Then the boat's electronics died. They were stranded, adrift, alone. As they worked to fix the engine, they heard a low groaning sound. It seemed to be coming from the fog itself. The hair stood up on the back of their necks. They killed the engine and listened. The groaning got louder. They decided to investigate. They followed the sound until they came to a shadowy figure in the fog. It was another boat, run aground on a sandbar. They cautiously boarded the vessel. It was deserted, except for a single body slumped over the railing. The man was dead. He had been there for days. My uncle and dad radioed for help. When the Coast Guard arrived, they couldn't explain the groaning sounds. They searched for the source, but found nothing. The other boat remained a mystery, vanished when the fog cleared the next day. My family and I were on vacation in Florida. We were exploring the canals on jet skis one afternoon. The sun was warm. The water was calm. It was a perfect day. As we rounded a bend, we saw a man sitting on a dock. He was older, with a strange smile. He waved us over. He invited us to his house for lemonade. We politely declined. We had a strange feeling about it. As we pulled away, I could see him watching us. His smile seemed to widen. We tried to enjoy the rest of our day, but we couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Later that night, I looked out my window. The man from the dock was standing in our backyard. He was just staring at the house. I blinked, and he was gone. The next morning, we asked around about it. No one knew who he was. It was like he never existed. These are just a few of the many chilling tales I've heard over the years. Stories of unexplained events at sea. Stories that make you question what's real and what's not. These mysteries remain unsolved. They are a reminder that there are still things in this world that we cannot explain. So the next time you're on the water, listen closely. You never know what you might hear or who might be watching.